Hey.
Hello,
Welcome,
hello,
welcome,
hello.
welcome to a very special episode of the Chasing Perfection podcast. We are so happy, so humble to be here with our special guest. And listen, we have a fire introduction for Sabrina. Okay, let me get into this. Okay. Listen, today we are honored to introduce a remarkable woman whose journey is nothing short of inspiring. Sabrina is a dedicated veteran, a compassionate nurse, and a legal nurse consultant. But beyond her impressive credentials, she is an advocate for families facing unimaginable challenges. Wow. At just 2 years old, Sabrina's daughter suffered a stroke, and the family was told to prepare for the worst. Against all odds, her daughter is now thriving at 5 years old. Sabrina is taking her experiences and creating an ebook for parents navigating the complexities of traumatic brain injuries. This resource will provide essential guidance on overcoming depression, finding support, and most importantly, embracing the journey ahead. Her message resonates deeply. You do not have to look like what you've been through. Join us as we get into Sabrina's story, her insights, and her mission to uplift and empower others on their path to healing. Let's go. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Big deal. We are so happy to have you, Sabrina.
Thank you so much for even giving me this opportunity to be here and talk to you guys. I'm so excited.
It's an honor, trust me. So we want to go right into it. So we did speak, you and I and Janelle, but tell us a little bit about you for the for the audience, for those that will be listening. Go ahead and give us a little summary from about yourself.
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Sabrina Willis. I am originally from Orangeburg, South Carolina. I currently live in Monroe, North Carolina, outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and my journey has been definitely a unique journey. Like she said, I am a veteran. I used to be an Army nurse. I work in corporate. I now own two different businesses. I started a legal nurse consulting business, and I am also in health and wellness. And I also create digital products, like she said, for families of children who deal with brain injury, who have been diagnosed with brain injuries.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So we definitely see that you have definitely multiple of hats that you carry, and also with your baby girl, right? Question: How are what does her life look like today at 5 years old?
So she has definitely come a long way since our initial diagnoses. There are a lot of things that she still has to overcome, but I choose to focus on the silver lining, like where she's come from, because they actually sent us home from the hospital on hospice and said that there was nothing else that they can do for her. But today she's alert, she smiles. She still has to learn how to walk and talk again, but she is definitely growing and thriving leaps and bounds more than I ever could have imagined.
Yes, and that's such a beautiful thing. And you know what's so interesting about that is my little sister experienced a traumatic brain injury when she was 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And she did recover very well. You wouldn't even know. She has a scar on her head. Whoever does her braids, they kill it. They disguise that scar so well. And what we don't realize, even some people who do have children with traumatic brain injuries, like my mother, right? My sister is doing really well, but sometimes it affects people even more drastically than others. And it's so beautiful that you're creating a resource that can help people who experience that at all levels. Because my sister, she has a little bit of a delay when it comes to school. How do you navigate that? Like certain things like that. I feel like that's so important for so many people to know and have a resource. And it's just so beautiful that you're creating that, especially with your nursing background.
Yes.
So
it's definitely been a journey, like I said. So this happened when she was 2. So 3 years of relearning myself, 3 years of changing my mindset, of getting around a community of people who encourages me, who believes in me, who helps me dig deep. And I think one of the things that I had to learn, and I was telling somebody this the other day, if you don't learn how to take care of yourself, if you don't learn how to be mentally strong, if you don't learn that you have to be steadfast and grounded in something, when things do come to you and shake your foundation, it
My
is
God.
very, very easy for you to crumble. And I did go through that a little bit, like going through the depression, and just I found myself just like going through the motions. Like, yes, I was still getting up and going to work every day. I was still taking care of the house. I was still taking care of everything, but I really was broken deep down inside. It was really a lot. So when I got ready to create a product, I was like, hey, I remember being in the hospital thinking, I've
Yes.
been a nurse for all of these years, and I really don't know where my resources are. I really don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. And I'm like, I now have this child who now has a disability, and I don't know who to ask, what questions to ask, where to turn, what to do. And so I was like, as I learned and as I grew and as I got stronger and got around a different community, I was like, no, so people really need like a guide, a guideline, a guide. And that's where the book came from. And one of the main points in the book that I talk about is my ask me strategy, because people would always say, oh, I could never do what you did, or how did you do this? And one thing I will say to that is, you would do it if you had to, because I
I
never,
was about to, yeah. Say
I
that again, Sabrina. You would do it if you have to.
would do it if you had to, because it's not like I had a choice, right?
Absolutely.
But I just had to figure out how to be strong and how to thrive through that. So the Ask Me acronym, and I pulled from all of my resources, all of my mentors, anybody that I've come in contact with. Like I said, this was a growth journey. Activate your belief system. Like I said, if you're not steadfast in something, when stuff comes, it's gonna throw you all off, and you really have to be able to be grounded in something. So activate your belief system and systematize your life. So just the smallest thing, that's writing things down. I don't remember a lot of things. So I have notes, I have checklists, I have sticky notes.
Me either, girl.
They're
I feel
everywhere.
you.
Like I have to have things to help jog my memory. So I tell other parents, you need to systematize your life. You need to have a schedule. You need to, just like when you have little children, you want them to go to bed at a certain time. And I understand that it doesn't have to be like a strict, like they got to eat at this time. They got it, but have some sort of structure to
Mm-hmm.
your life, for everything, for work, for your personal life, for your professional life, all of those things, and it will make it easier because you don't have to think about it, and you get accustomed to doing the routine, and then it becomes second nature. And then so that way, and I pulled that from being a nurse. One of my first mentors in nursing, she said, when you go and you do your assessments, you got to do it systematically, that way, because it's never just you go in, do your assessment, you leave. You go in, somebody's gonna call. You go in, a family's gonna call. You go in, the call light goes up. Like, it has to be something. So I learned to do it in a systematic way. So I know wherever I got stopped, I know where to go and pick up from, to pick back up. And so it's the same thing. I know what her schedule is. I know what her calendar is. So even when we have to get like new nurses or new people that come in, because I feel like sometimes my front door is like a revolving door of
Yes.
therapists and teachers and all of these people.
Wow.
But when we have to get a new person, then I have a binder. I'm like, hey, here, this is her story. Because sometimes I don't have time to start from the beginning. Like, look, this has been 3 years in the making. Now we got it down to a science. This is what happened to her. This is what she's been diagnosed with. These are her current capabilities. This is her medication. This is her schedule. So anybody can come and step in.
Yes.
I
And
love that.
not only that, they it'll help them do their job. But the days that I need a break, I'm like,
Yes.
hey, here you go. I gotta step away, because I always have to
The SOP.
that SOB, that's for her life. Like, because I know that there are days where I know I can get overwhelmed and I can feel it coming, and I'm just like, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna step over here. I'm gonna go refill my cup so that I can come back, so I can continue to be the best parent for her. So that's systematizing your life, and even down to workouts and weight loss and all of these things. It's a system. Everything has to be a system. Um, and then keeping a journal and a record. Just like I said, I write everything down. Not just medication. I keep a log of all of the hospitalizations and all of the things that are in that SOP, in that book for her. But keeping a journal of how I'm feeling, the things that I'm going through. Because on the days where it get hard, I can go back. If it's a month ago or 2 years ago, I can go back and not just not necessarily just reminisce, but to see my growth. If I'm feeling like, dang, I don't know if I accomplished this, or I'm not feeling the way I need to feel, I can see where I come from to remind me to
Yes.
keep on and remind me of my why. Oh, excuse me,
I love that.
remind me of my why. And then making time to process the change, because I when all of this stuff happened with Victoria, like I said, I was on go mode. I said my nurse brain kicked in. I was like, my mom brain wasn't kicking in. My nurse brain kicked in because I know I have to keep going no matter what happened. Just like when I was in the hospital, you get a code, the patient expired, but you still got 5, 6 other patients that you got to take care of.
Yes.
Keep going. So I think that part of my brain helped me to click in. But after a while, after it got so much and I wasn't taking care of myself and I wasn't unpacking these things, it just really took a toll on me. So now I have learned that I have to slow down. That's one thing. So if people don't get anything else, I'm like, first slow down,
Yes.
deep breath, take a deep breath, and sit with your emotions. You're not wrong for how you feel. You are a human being. Things are going to happen to you, but you have to give yourself a chance to just feel what you're feeling. Don't
Yeah.
try don't try to just, oh, I don't want to feel this, because you got to deal with those feelings because they're there. And that's the
Mhm.
only way you're gonna get through it, is if you actually feel it. Like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I want to happen. This is what is going to happen. And now I need to figure out what I need to do to get to the next step. Um,
Right.
and just embrace the change, because the only constant in life is change. And if you're not able to roll with the punches, you you essentially just expire. And
Right.
that's one of the things I got, from being in the army. Like, the army is gonna keep rolling along. That's our song. It's gonna keep rolling along. And so I learned that and I adopted. Life is gonna keep going no matter what happens to you. And you just got to figure out, take your tools, put them in your kit so that you know what you need to do to keep going.
That is
So
so good.
that was really good, but I want to go back because you
Yeah.
said
You said so many gems, girl.
yeah,
I'm over
you
here
said that
writing,
you
listen.
experienced, so you experienced depression,
Yeah.
but I feel like for a lot of women, sometimes we don't know when we are experiencing depression. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're going through a depression, but because life is on go, right? And you don't get that chance to sit down and breathe, especially in that moment when something's happening to your daughter. You can't step back and be like, y'all got it, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm.
So can you kind of walk us through how did you even know that you were depressed, or was there like a pivoting moment where you said, man, I'm depressed?
I I think at the time I didn't know it was depression. I
Yeah.
know I felt it got to a point where I wasn't feeling anything. Like, I felt
Mm.
like I was, like, just numb. And I think somebody asked me one time, they was like, "Well," it was my therapist. It was my therapist. She was like, "Well, what makes you happy?"
Mm.
Mm.
And I thought about it and I was like, I don't know what do you mean, what makes me happy? I couldn't answer the question. Because I had become numb to everything that was happening. Like, yes, I was still going. I was still having a conversation. I would still be smiling. People would see me and nobody would know that anything was wrong. But when I couldn't verbalize what brings me joy, what made me happy, I was
Mm.
like, ooh, this is something that I need. And it literally took me, like, we had a session and she was like, I'm gonna let you sit with that, because she saw that I was struggling. I was like, I don't know why, like, no, and that was a coping mechanism. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not what makes you happy. But what really truly brings you joy, like, if you don't have anything else, if and it can't be reliant on somebody or something, like, what really brings you joy. And so I had to really sit with that. But I think when I came back, she was like, I think you're depressed. It was, I couldn't, I would go eat and it was like, I'm gonna eat because I need to eat, but I never felt satisfied. If I
Mm.
would have a conversation, it always felt like, what are we talking about? I don't want to talk about this, or I just didn't want to do anything
Yeah.
outside of what I had to do, because I didn't
Wow.
have any energy to do anything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my therapist was like, "Yeah, I think you're depressed." And I was like, "Okay. Okay, so let's work through this.
Right.
Let's work through
I
this."
I love when you said when you started talking about tracking backwards, right? Because I think that's a value point as well. It starts with your daughter keeping a structure, and helping you to better, to better organize yourself, and also to be able to point direction to help for others for her when you need to take that time for yourself.
Mhm.
What I wanted to touch on about that is because I too can relate to like the state of being depressed, right?
Mhm.
And beginning of 2023, actually, I felt like that was like the best high point of my life, right? I was on fire, girl, right? And then I just felt like I went down to little interest. And I remember, I don't know what or why I did it, right? But I wrote down in the book what I was doing to feel so good in that moment. And I knew I was working out. I was reading the books. I was showing up. I was consistent in my word. I was that what I was doing.
Mhm.
So sometimes, like you said, we can get so caught up in life and we can get distracted, right? So easily that we unintentionally forget about ourselves in the process of doing it. So I can definitely relate when you had extra when your therapist asked you that question and you didn't have the answer for it. Because I too recently, after just having a baby, I am today 6 months postpartum, and I did not know nothing about myself. All I knew was that I was becoming a mom and I wouldn't embrace being a mom and everything. But if you could truly ask me, what is it that bring you happiness and joy? I had no words for it. So then I had to start to look around my surroundings, right? I knew around that time in 2023, my space was clean, right? Yes, I make my bed and stuff, but I noticed my sign of depression is when my room is cluttered. And
Mhm.
I'm like, and it
Mm.
don't bother me. And
Mhm.
like you said, the little interest of doing things, just doing it because you're hungry. So I'm saying all this to say I've been there, and I can really relate to it, and that really touched me because sometimes when we going through that stage, we could feel alone, right? We could feel like no one can relate to that feeling. It's like it's your end, right? But when you begin to like really work on it and
Yeah.
like apply what you're telling us, it's a shift that takes place. So
Mhm.
I love that you even said that.
Mhm.
Love, 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 love. So we know that you do a lot of things, but now what are your main focuses right now as far as what you're doing career wise?
Yes.
What is the main focus for you?
So my main focus right now is being the advocate, being the beacon of hope for other
Ooh,
families.
the example. Come
Come
on.
on.
Yes, being the example, to show other, I say moms because I cater to moms, but
Yes.
it can apply to anybody. When their children get diagnosed with that brain injury or whatever injury that you have, anything dealing with your child, knowing that, like Janelle said, you don't have to look like what you've
Wow.
been.
Yes.
And now that I'm not depressed and I have found my mission, my vision, and I know where I'm going, I like to dress up. I like to feel good. And one of my good coaches says feeling good is a strategy, and it truly is. So it's
Yes.
more than just, oh, you just want to be cute. No, I want to feel good because I know what it feels like to be at the bottom. I know what it
Come
feels
on.
like to be in a pit and have to dig yourself out of that without being able to explain it to anybody. To For even people to be like, well, how can I help you? I didn't know how to tell them. I didn't know how to tell them. So now I want to be able to help those families, give them strategies, be the example, tell them about
Mm-hmm.
how important your health, your wellness is, your fitness, all of those things tie in together so that you can be able to continue to roll with the punches. So that's what my focus is. Creating content and creating digital products for those families so that they have somewhere to go, so they're not lost like I was.
So Sabrina, could you walk us through? Because I always believe, and I'm a true believer that it's three types of people in our lives, right? It's one person that's not okay. Let me say it's like this. It's three people, right? So it's one person that have not been through what you've been through. There's one person that don't know that they're getting ready to walk in that, and there's someone like yourself that's overcoming it and overcame in different areas. So walk us through the what you just said with the feeling good strategy, right? When you look good, you feel good. What
Mhm.
was the steps to like bringing yourself out into that?
I think I started with my clothing. That was the first thing that I can handle. Like
Yeah.
it was very easy to get into the habit of, I'm just gonna throw some sweatpants on, just throw on a hoodie and go. But it was like, no, I need to. It got to the point where, no, I want to feel good. When you look good, you feel good, you smell good. So it got to, I would get dressed up, and then Victoria would get dressed. If we had a doctor's appointment, she got her hair done, and I got my hair done, and we walk in there, and they like, oh my God, y'all smell good, you feel good. And I feel like people treat you different. And I heard somebody say this,
Yes.
you dress how you want to be addressed. And I was like, I never wanted anybody to look at, oh, woe is you, or woe is me, and I'm so sorry. I can't stand that. I'm so sorry you did. Like, I want you to look at me and be like, dang, she's strong. They look good.
Wow.
You
Yes.
know, they are thriving. I wanted,
Yes.
and it was like that whole fake it till you make it. That's essentially what I was doing.
Yeah.
I needed to feel something. I needed to feel good. So I started dressing up, and then it was like, okay, as I was going through the therapies and going through the things, it was like, okay, why do I feel like that? And it was because I had gone all of this time just going through the motions. I gained
Mm.
a whole lot of weight. I got up to like 219 pounds. And I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
When I could only fit like cardigans and only stretch pants and the clothes that I wanted to wear,
Wow.
that I couldn't fit them anymore. I was like, wait a minute, something got to change.
Yeah.
I went to an awakening that Coach Stormy hosted in July.
Hmm.
And all of that was, self-development, discovering yourself and all of that. This was just past week, like all these years I'm trying to get to where, figure out how to make it work. I went to that awakening because I was like, listen, something has to change.
Yes.
I don't know how much longer I can hold on without somebody helping me. When I went to that awakening and she talked about all of those things, it was like, okay, this is it. You've been asking, you've been praying, you need a tool, you needed a community, you found it. She gave you all of the tools that you had right here.
Yeah.
I wasn't taking care of myself. It was then that I was like, okay, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
These are the things that I need to do. I gotta get rid of this weight. I joined Total Life Changes and started taking these products. I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this weight.
Yes.
And she was talking about she had talking about the NRG supplement that they had. It's supposed to be for clarity and focus. And we don't make any medical claims, but she was like, this is the thing that made me feel good. And I was like, okay. My therapist had been talking about putting me on antidepressants and all of this stuff. I was like, if this work,
Ooh, that's some heavy medication.
right. I was like, bet this is the all natural stuff.
NRG me, please.
And so I took it. She sampled me at the event with the NutriBurst. And like after 15 minutes, I was like, it was like this euphoric feeling. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want some of this because this might be a placebo effect. I need to know if this can keep happening because
Yes.
it made me feel something that I didn't feel for a long time. And I was just like, wow. So I got on those products. I dropped the weight down. I think this morning when I got on the scale, it was 153.
Come on.
Hey!
Do your dance. Do your dance.
I was
And can I tell you, Sabrina, I'm just, as you talking, your teeth, you're just so beautiful.
Yes.
Let me tell you, girl, I'm gonna hype you up because that's just what we do. You look
Yes.
so beautiful. I feel like I can smell you through the screen. So
Listen.
whatever you're doing, definitely with your products and drinking the products and using your NRG and doing the posture work that comes with it, because it's deeper than just taking the products. It's a mental shift that also takes place. And me also being a part of TLC, it's I definitely understand that it's being a product of the product and really doing the hard work along the process. I love that.
I want to hit on a couple of things, okay?
Yes.
So, Kaisha and I are building a community, right? And you touched on how being a part of Coach Stormy's community just has done, a lot for you. And I think that's something worth giving some attention to, because, a lot of people, when it comes to Coach Stormy, there's a lot of haters online, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at overall Coach Stormy, you don't have to like everything she does, but you have to look at some of the results, right?
Yes, respect for results.
Matters. And there's a lot of women in her community that have great things to say. A lot of women, her community has helped them tremendously, whether it just be finding themselves. And it's just the power of community, right? It's the power of hearing the right things at the right time. And what's so interesting is I also went to that awakening with you. And when I looked at you, I would have never known that you were there because you were looking for something. truly, because
Wow.
you, Sabrina, you are stunning.
Thank you.
Yes,
No,
you are.
seriously. Even at the awakening, when you were sad and depressed, you were still so beautiful, right? And you would just have never known that. And that's just that understanding that when you look at somebody,
You can't judge them.
you can't judge a book by its
Mm-mm.
cover, even if it's a beautiful cover, right?
Yep.
Because you don't know what's going on the inside. And sometimes you just need something. You need some type of community. You need to hear the right thing in the right
Yes.
moment
Be in the
that
right
make you wake
rooms.
up and realize, hold up, I'm Sabrina.
Come on.
Wait a minute.
Right.
And I just hearing you say that is so crazy to me, because I'm like, man, I would have never known just looking at you. You even have like an aura about yourself. Like, you like
Yeah.
to wear your nice long your long skirts and dresses, and you
And I
just
love
be
some shoulder action, girl.
swishing on through.
You
You
have to
be
see that in the
walking, girl.
mail.
And it's so powerful. And so I wanted you to just highlight what it is to have a true community.
Yes.
What do you believe that is?
I think again, it starts with the mindset.
Yes.
For me, getting into that environment, it was shocking. One, you see things on the internet, and then you're like, I need to see if this is for real.
Yeah.
You never
Mhm.
know. Everything that glitters is not gold.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I got in that room and I saw how much they loved on each other, how much they encouraged each other, and they appreciate each other, and they showed honor to each other. I was like, I hadn't seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen that before, but I also had to, during the doing the workbooks and stuff, it makes you do a deep dive. It's like I hadn't seen that because I wasn't providing that.
Yeah. Come
I
on.
wasn't having the people around me because I wasn't being that for other people.
Yes.
But I couldn't do that for other people because I couldn't do it for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I said once you learn it, you can't unhear it. And once you're like, hey, I can be better. Once you acknowledge those things, you look at what it is, you sit with your feelings, and you
Yeah.
realize, okay, I was the problem in some of these situations.
Accountability, self accountability is what I'm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Once you get that, you're like, okay, I can be better, so that I can be better for the people around me, so that I can be better for the next person, because everybody didn't hear what I heard, but now we what is it? You have the not the authority. I can't think of the word, but you have obligation. You have the
Yeah.
obligation now to be that light, to be that beacon, to be a better person, to stop gossip when you hear it, to encourage another person, to straighten another woman's crown, to
Come on.
be the example. Like once you learn that, it's like, okay, yes, having other people around you who have that same mindset, who
Yeah.
have that same inward reflection, who have that same desire to build and honor and encourage women around you. Like it makes us all better. When you get better, you help other people get better, and then the world can be better.
Yes. And that's what it's about, making an impact. What type of anybody can make an impact, but what type of impact are you making? And
Exactly.
and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hearing as you what through what you're saying is like you just have to be the example. Somebody have to do it. And if you could be one of those somebodies that make the world so much of a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it does. And you know what's so crazy? It's called the awakening, that event. And let me tell you what my experience was. When we were going through the workbook, there were a lot of questions and prompts in there I couldn't answer.
Mhm.
Right. And then she's like, write it down. You're not people not writing. I don't know what to write.
Right.
I don't even know. And it
Mhm.
just goes back to what you guys were saying about when you were in that depressed state
Yeah.
and you realize you don't even know what makes you happy.
Mhm.
Man, you got to know what you want. And that's what the awakening was about, knowing what you want.
Yep.
Know thyself, love thyself,
Exactly.
right?
And that even looks like diving deep. That's what it's about. You have to be willing to dive deep into yourself. Really like revealing to being ready to hit those marks and those scars, right? To address it, like you said, to take the accountability, to be like, I can grow in this area. You're right. My posture is very wrong in this area, but I can do so much more. I can be like, if I work on myself, just imagine those around me, how they would just benefit, right? And how I can just show up even more confident.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's really good.
And
And it's beautiful.
and
Com-
sometimes people
Go ahead.
won't listen to what you say, but they will watch what you do.
Mm.
They will watch what you do, and I think that's why they encourage you, when you're going through a journey, to document it. And even with the the way social media now is, you can
Yes.
put it in your stories, because you can encourage somebody just
Yeah.
showing that in your stories. And that was one of the things that I had to learn as I learned to build my community, is to let people in, let them see what you're doing, let them see what you're going through, see how your life is. No, it's not all rainbow and glitters and happy go lucky all the time. Yes, I can be cute. But also show them that I probably need to go wash these dishes because they've been sitting in there all day and I didn't do anything. But letting them see the both sides, learning that it's a journey and I'm balancing it out.
I'm glad you said building my community, because that was my next question. Do you know that you're building a community? Because that
Yeah.
is what you're doing. When you're giving resources and saying, "Hey, here's my story," you're going to attract the people that are going through that,
Mhm.
and that is community.
Yeah.
And then you're going to
Automatically.
find yourself in a place where people are going to, seek you. They're going to go back to their book and open it and say, "Man, Sabrina said this is what's happening now." And you got to know, like, you're creating a community, and it's a beautiful thing to create a community, because you know that it's bigger than yourself.
Exactly.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
so
it's very beautiful.
there's just I'm just thinking, I'm over here like in total awe, because to hear your story and to just look at you in this screen. I never met you before, but your energy is very strong, let's say that, right? You just have such a welcoming era. And I'm just looking at you because I just love, and I'm going to circle around this again, where you say you just can never look like what you go through. You should aim to not look like what you go through, because if you show up defeated, you're everything around you is going to show defeation, right? But if you show up, at least put effort. I think it's about putting effort in, and
Absolutely.
like just being willing to, to do the next step, willing to show up a little different. It's the willingness to do it. And
Mhm.
I think that's what's lacked a lot, and that's also what's not demonstrated on social media often. And it's a percentage of people that show it, and it's a percentage of people that's like, you just not there yet. I would say it like that, right? And so I just love this is like, for this to be the listen. This is big. This is all I can say, because I don't. It's you dropped so many gems, Sabrina.
Yeah, you did. You
you
did.
know, like it's just amazing, and we're just so grateful that you even gave us the time, to even sit with you on Chasing Perfection. And because it's so much bigger than ourselves, so many people are just literally going to be attracted to what it is that Sabrina's story is, what it is that Sabrina do. And because of you walking your truth and you tell your story, so it just flows, because you can tell it's your story.
Mhm.
And I didn't look at Instagram. I didn't even think, even though I do document everything, and anybody watching this gonna be like, yes, she do. My goodness. But it literally says it. We make things so hard when it's so simple.
Mhm.
Mm.
Instagram, it says my story,
So
and it never stood
Ooh,
out
let her
to me. Now
cook.
my mind just shifted, because I'm like, wow. So every day you do have a chance to really share your story.
yes,
That is so good.
yes, yes.
It is.
And even when you don't think you do, like I heard somebody say, it was like your money is in your camera roll. And I'm like, think about how
Yeah.
you have your phone with you all the time, right? You
Yeah.
recording, you taking pictures, but you don't.
Yeah.
And that's me. I'm like, I have 45,000 pictures and like 15,000 videos in there. And I'm like, oh, I don't know
Wow.
those, girl. Get out your own way.
Get
Post
out your own
the
way.
story. Post the story.
Right. But it's hard, for a lot of people, it's hard to show up on social media and be transparent. And I understand that. Social media is only just a glimpse of what's really going on behind the scenes, but there's so much power in transparency. There's so
Mhm.
much power in it, because you don't know who's scrolling that's looking for that something,
It's true.
I
It's
believe your
you know?
story makes room for you when you just
Yeah.
walk in your truth and you have that posture, and you're not. I just truly believe that your story makes room for you. It connects you with your tribe, your people,
Mhm.
um, and like like Janelle said, like with you, Sabrina, by you just telling your story, right? It's so many people that's going through it that's probably needed to hear exactly what you're talking
Yep.
about, like right now, and be like she said, go back to the book and like, okay, Sabrina did, okay, I can see how I can improve in this area,
Mhm.
and that means a lot, honestly.
Mhm. And you get to learn from other people.
Yeah.
It's like I'm learning from you guys, just watching you guys. I'm just like, I am just like amazed. Like, I wish I thought about doing, doing stuff like that, or even just having the courage to get out there and to ask people to tell their stories. So kudos to the two of you, because this is beautiful, and I have thoroughly enjoyed watching the two of you thrive. And I wish you absolute best. I'm speaking Oprah type level of interviewing for you guys.
Come
Come
on.
on.
And
And
Sabrina, when you ready, we will hold your hand through it. When you want to know how to set up your, whatever you do, whatever however we can help you, how we can like
yes.
serve your vision as well. Let us know. We here for you, okay? If you need any questions, any steps, that's what we here for. It's about helping the next person. It's about what you said. Most importantly, it's making that impact.
Right. And before we close out, right? So, chasing perfection is about, the everlasting evolution of growing, because you're never going to be perfect. That's why we have the quotation marks, right? You will never
Yes.
be perfect. You can chase perfection. Maybe you can catch excellence, but not perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And we really believe, as far as our community, that collaboration is the key. Shared success is the key to unlock abundance. So before we close out, we want you to talk to the viewer. Give the viewer something about resilience, because that is your story, resilience. What does it take to find that resilience in you and beat the odds?
It's gonna take for you to actually know you.
Mm,
And like you said, realizing that it's bigger than you.
yes.
A lot of times we get focused on, and I was guilty of this. Everything is about me, and I need to do this, and I need to do. What are you doing to help somebody else?
Yes.
To be of service is why we're here, and that's what's going to continue to help bring our blessing. Because if it's just you, okay, then it's you. But if you're helping somebody else, you're strengthening somebody, you're encouraging somebody, and it goes back to you're building that community. You are weaving the fabrics of the community when you help somebody else. So whatever you do, and whatever you do, it needs to be of service to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So for resilience, like knowing yourself, knowing your vision, knowing what higher purpose you are serving, that is what's going to help keep you resilient. Because
Yes.
like you said, it's not a destination, it's a journey. You can continue to chase perfection, but it's important for you to consistently get better, even if you're only getting 1% better every day.
It counts.
Exactly. Because when you hear good things that are gonna make you better, you can't unhear it. Um,
Yep.
we talked about earlier, then you have an obligation to help somebody else and to encourage other people. Um, because this is what we're all here for, the service. So in order to be resilient, you gotta know who you are. Know
Absolutely.
what vision you.
Know who you are.
Mhm.
Know who you
That is
are.
so good. Sabrina, also tell the audience of where they can reach you at. Like how can they get in contact with Sabrina? How can they follow you? Continue to follow your story.
So you can follow me on Instagram at Live Well Factory. And I didn't talked about that a little bit, but Live Well Factory, it's basically exactly resilience. Learning what you need to live well 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I put factory in there because it's a constant thing.
Come
It's
on.
Wow. Come on.
telling your story and getting the gems and putting them in your toolkit so that again when things come, because they're gonna come, because
Yep.
life is gonna life,
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
and you got to be able to roll with the punches. So Live Well Factory, and then the book will be out soon. I will drop the link. I don't have a release date right now, but I'll drop that. But yeah, Live Well
All
Factory.
right. Thank you so much for your time again. We
Yes.
appreciate you. We look forward to, even outside of just recording today, our connection don't stop here. We'll definitely continue to be in connection. I know Janelle met you in person already, but I cannot wait to meet you as well, Sabrina. It's been an honor having you.
Yes,
Give
it
me a
has. Yes,
hug,
it
a virtual
has. I
hug,
mean, I
girl.
done got the
I'm a
gym. Thank you and thank you and thank you again. We are humble, always, number one, and we are thankful. So thank you for joining us on Chasing Perfection podcast. Listen, if you're watching this, stay tuned for the rest of our episodes. Stay tuned for more powerful women like Sabrina herself, and stay tuned for everything Chasing Perfection. And if you're not a part of our community, head to our website, join our community so that we can support each other, we can collaborate and collaborate effectively. Chasing Perfection is out.